Shit, what's this podcast called?
Discourse of Human Events.
The discourse is just crazy.
Everything's okay, I'm just trying to act my age. Yeah, I wanna know where the hell the days go. Yeah, I wanna know where the hell the days go. I wanna look and feel years younger, baby. I wanna look and feel years younger.
Okay, now we can start. So we're talking about the Nazis, killing them Nazis, and the riots, and what were you saying now about our President Trump?
Well, I feel like they came out when it came to like Hillary and Trump being in office just because Hillary was a woman, and then they didn't want President Obama to be president because he was black. And I feel like I don't feel like
What
this
do
is
you
the
mean?
only
Like
time.
random-
I don't feel like this is the only time they come. Like everyone's shocked because there's like Nazis in the street. This
Yeah.
isn't the only time they've done this. Like I don't think.
No. I think it's more blatant.
I think I've become like, I feel like I live under a rock, but it's because I live in like a progressive city. Because when these
Yeah.
things happen, I'm like, what? There's still like Nazi groups out there, and like they're gathering and like protesting in
Do you
big
not
groups.
go to Shelby or Mansfield?
I've just lived here so long, like it seems like things have gotten better here, but then
Yeah.
like there's so many like rural and like farm towns in America that it's like
There's
I
a
don't think
lot of-
about
Good
it.
point.
There's a lot of racist people who were in Shelby and in Mansfield, or
Well,
just Nazi people.
Kinda, they're just mostly
Definitely
white.
more, yeah.
They're just all white, and like a lot of them are just uneducated about it.
I don't know if I'd say there's a lot of the people there, but there's going to be a lot more than if you're in Columbus.
Yeah.
You know, you hear people say more racist things. It's something
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
true.
You're not going to hear certain things in Columbus where
Right.
you would in Shelby or
Right.
Mansfield or any of the rural towns.
I think because I grew up in like Mount Sterling area, and when I went to school there
Where's
was a
that?
lot of. That's like south of Grove City.
Okay.
It's like by Washington Courthouse, if you know where that. Okay.
Nope.
But anyways,
Nope.
I felt like there was a lot of racism going on there. Then when I went to Columbus schools too, because we lived in Williamsburg for a long time, and then we moved to Mount Sterling, and it was just like a whole bunch of either white people thought that I was an alien because I was the only black person there, and I don't know, they just thought it was weird that I was
So
there.
in Shelby, there was like what, one black family? Like
Yeah, there was like one
if there
or
was
two.
more, like I didn't know about them.
I think there was like a couple.
Yeah, enough to count.
yeah.
So there's just what was the choir director we had? It was the first black choir director, and he was
Mr.
telling us
Neighbors.
stories. Yeah, Mr. Neighbors, and he was telling us stories about like living in Shelby and walking around, and people yelling out like "wrong town" and stuff like that.
Oh,
too.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was obvious, and even some of the friends we grew up with, like you could hear some of the racist comments that they would make, like using the N-word and thinking it's funny type stuff.
Yeah.
Without it, like not even thinking it's funny, I guess. Sometimes just calling people that.
Yeah.
Anyways, you were talking about. I just mentioned Mr. Neighbors and all that.
Oh, what I was
And you
saying
talking to-
was when I pretty much grew up in the rural, like Mount Sterling area, boondocks. Pretty
what
much.
makes the boondocks the boondocks? Doesn't docks have to be involved?
I
I
think
guess that's just a slang.
it's just like a rural area.
Yeah, I don't know what the term boondocks actually means.
I guess
Yeah,
just,
it's probably like slang for something
It
like
is, it's
started a long
slang.
time
Let me see.
ago.
well, I felt like when it came to people being more racist, I felt like my brothers had more of the racism than women.
Why?
I don't know.
I would think it
if
would be
it's-
worse for you because being like a woman and black, and I would expect that
Yeah.
you just have.
I
So
don't know, I
boondocks
just-
is backcountry, backwoods.
I think
boonies.
your brothers were probably more confrontational than you too. Like,
That's true.
Well, they were younger at that time too, so they weren't older, so they didn't really understand it very much. But with me, I just didn't get it.
Like, what kind of things did they get? Like, what happened?
Well, to me or to my brothers?
To both.
Okay,
Let's
so
hear what happened to both.
So I pretty much got most of the racism towards women. Like,
You got more sexism that
no,
I
I was pretty much like they looked at me as being like the N-word towards women with me. Like,
What do you
the
mean?
women
No, I don't know.
picked on me.
What do you mean? Like, women specifically
picked on me.
Okay,
Not the men.
I got
Like, the men didn't pick on me. I think one time there was like a racist thing going on with a guy one time because he liked me, he wanted to be with me, and I didn't want to be with him. And then that's when he
Then it
started
got
throwing the
racist.
race card, or just throwing like the racist slurs and stuff like that.
Huh.
But my brothers, they pretty much got most of it, just because.
Just from both sides?
I don't know if it's from both sides. I think it's just from the boys, I guess.
I guess the same sex is more comfortable being mean to the same
Yeah, that's
sex.
true.
And also you probably hung out with more women, so
Mm-hmm.
you probably had to deal with that more.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I wouldn't
But I
have ever
think-
thought of that, but I would just think guys would be more confrontational in general.
Yeah.
But like, like just being called names? Is that it?
Yeah.
Or?
Well, okay, so the one thing that happened that made us move was my brother, he played a lot of football, and I guess they were just practicing together, him and his friends.
Yeah.
And something happened to where there was like a little scuffle going on between another guy and my brother. And the guy had got mad at my brother and called him the N-word. So they started fighting.
Yeah.
And so it just got out of hand. Cops were called.
Oh, yeah,
Just a whole bunch of
course.
this crazy stuff.
Got taken to the next level.
Yeah, so my mom was just like, well, I've had enough of it. I'm just going to take you guys out of the school. And then that was the end of it, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's weird. It's such a different world than like what I'm used to. Like never having to worry about somebody coming up to me and having like a problem with me just because of the color of my skin, just to start with. Like already having a problem with me. Or just like, for instance, every time a cop's pulled me over, I've never been like the first time when I was young, maybe I was nervous just because it was a cop. Like, holy shit, what's happening?
I don't want to get
But
sick.
after that, it was like, oh, it's just a cop, no big deal. Nothing
Yeah.
bad's going to happen because all he was
you
doing
wouldn't-
was speeding or something.
Right, you would never expect that, but nowadays
Yeah.
you just being black right now is just not looking too good.
Shit, if I was a black dude and I
I
got
think
pulled
it
over, I'd be
actually-
like, hands on 10 and 2, hands up, like,
It's
I'd be
terrible,
so
though.
like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's terrible.
what happened recently, though, with the guy hitting all those people, though, it sparked, like, an outrage from the other side. And now, like, there's, like, a rally against the white supremacists, and, like, other states have made motions to, like, remove Confederate statues. And, like,
How do you feel about Confederate statues? Because I'm like on the fence about this, because it is history. Like, you can't just
Yeah, but
denounce history, but I get that it's like you wouldn't have Adolf Hitler statues
Right.
in Germany, so I guess
Yeah.
it makes sense at some point.
yeah, I feel like it's just what it represents, and it
Yeah.
doesn't represent history. It's, like,
Well, it
it's
represents
like a-
history, just a negative history.
those people rallying to keep it up, though, weren't there because of the history.
Yeah, yeah.
They
No,
were there
of course,
for
yeah.
what it meant to them, which was, like...
Well, if you look at it, like, okay, how would people feel if, like, there was a Black Panther flag hanging up? That's a part of history. You don't really hear much about that, to be honest.
Yeah. But you could also just argue the same thing with, like, George Washington being on our money. He had slaves. Like, why
Yeah.
is that okay? It's like you crossing, it's just there's different random... You're like, okay, he was blatantly
But
more
when you think
racist.
of George Washington, you don't think of his slaves. You think of him as the first president of our country.
Yeah.
When you think of anything Confederate, you associate it with, like, slavery and racism.
I guess so. I guess
If you look
that's
at a
the power
flag, you think of the
symbolism.
South, slavery, and, like,
Yeah,
nothing,
yeah.
like, you don't think of the Confederate War, like, well, you think of the Civil War, but you're like, yeah, they were battling to keep their slaves.
Yeah.
So, like,
That's true. It's the power of symbols, I guess, in the end. What does it stand for?
but, like, Airbnb came out and said they wouldn't rent or let white supremacists.
Well, I saw they
anymore.
canceled
Yeah.
reservations for it.
And then
But how do they determine that?
I'm not sure. I think
What are they
like
do a
Google,
background check
Google
or
and
Google?
GoDaddy won't host any white supremacist websites anymore, and now
Huh. I just don't understand how if I sign up for an Airbnb, how they determine if I'm a white supremacist or not.
I'm not sure.
Like, how much digging do they do into that?
You'd be surprised how much they probably know about you.
That's true. I mean, probably a quick Google search. That's true. If I think about it, a lot of my Facebook posts I'd mark as public, so
Yep.
that's my own choosing to do that. But I'm not posting about white supremacy, so I'm not really worried about it. Till now.
What?
No, I'm just going to title this white supremacy.
You're going to be on another
Make
list.
it public post.
You're going to be on all types of lists.
I'm already on all types of lists. Yeah, I should probably. Well, what would I title it? I guess white supremacist would be punching Nazis, killing Nazis.
Yeah, I wasn't even aware that there were still large Nazi sympathizers.
Yeah,
Even if you go to Germany, I've heard that bringing up Nazis is not okay there. They're ashamed
yeah.
that
Oh, wow.
that happened there, and they don't want to be associated.
Did you see that
with
Reddit
it.
post?
I don't
Some
know.
guy got some dude from the United States was visiting and was really fucking crazy drunk and did a Nazi salute and got the shit beat out of him because of it. In
Yeah.
Germany. Yeah.
Wow.
So even in Germany,
Yeah.
they don't like Nazis,
Yeah.
but over in America,
Yeah.
we're still
Yeah.
sympathizing and
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
I think people in America though are so far removed from Nazism, it doesn't really affect them. People in Germany have had to deal with the history
yeah.
of that war
Mhm.
I
because
think
of it. And
they're just better educated too.
that's true.
In America, there's a lot of different education levels, and
Yeah,
people are still raised
bigger
really.
population.
Yeah.
In fact, I'd be curious to see what the population is in Germany compared to the U.S. because we're at 350 million.
I think so.
Yeah, when you have more people, you have more idiots. It's just a fact of life, I guess. I'm curious what Germany is. Let's see.
But you shouldn't be too shocked about the whole Nazi thing or racist people because
I understand.
I'm not shocked. I think I'm just dumbfounded that there's still people like this out there.
But I mean, Trump was put in office.
I know that still bothers me too.
I'm shocked that there are Nazi sympathizers, people actually flying Nazi flags and Nazi salutes.
Yeah.
I'm not shocked that there's racists. That's not shocking. But to be at that level, it's only 82 million in Germany.
Wow.
So, what was that? Well, almost 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That I am shocked that it's at that level. And with Trump, it's I saw why people voted for him. I saw Republicans they were so against Hillary it didn't matter who the other guy was. It wasn't just a racist thing. There was also just people voting for their team. People I'm a Republican, I want to vote Republican. Doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
There's people doing that too.
I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous though.
I honestly was on the fence to begin with.
I
hated Hillary Clinton so much. I looked at Trump I really don't like you though. So well, I don't know what to do. And Gary Johnson wasn't even a great candidate for.
Yeah, Hillary messed up by the way she won the primary
Yeah, that did not help her at all.
because she rubbed all the Bernie supporters the wrong way, and then all of them wouldn't vote for her.
Let's say if it was Bernie versus Trump, there would never have been a Trump.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
and
wouldn't
they even
even
showed
come
that
close.
Bernie polled better against Trump too.
Yeah, I don't. But we're dealing with such a level of politics. We don't really know what actually goes on behind the scenes of if it was actually us electing Trump or if there was any back dealings going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope
Did
that
Hillary Clinton
investigation
actually have a chance?
I think it was rigged. Maybe.
think so?
Kind of, a little bit.
The investigation, it's getting kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It's been interesting, the whole thing.
I will say I'm jaded enough to agree that I don't know. If it was rigged, I wouldn't be surprised. Would you be surprised if there was a
No.
rigged election?
Oh no!
Exactly. We're jaded to that point.
I'm
where
pretty
it's
sure it is. Just
Yeah, sure.
how
course.
blatantly guilty they look. Every time they find evidence, I don't know why someone doesn't take Trump's phone and stop letting him tweet, but He just looks so guilty every move he makes.
It's so weird having a president that just tweets every
everything.
goddamn hour.
I guess he posted like a comic of a woman getting hit by a train in response to the woman getting hit by the car.
What?
He posted some comic of some woman getting hit by a train and like in response to that, and then he took it down like pretty fast.
I don't understand
Wait.
it. Was it like to prove that people get hit by things, or
Do you think
I
it's
think so.
you can't even
What?
explain it?
was it because of the riot or something, or
Like, regardless, it doesn't look good. Like, why would you ever post, like a
Yeah.
president should come out and, like, sympathize and be like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry this happened to our country, like...
oh yeah, you noticed that he hasn't really said much about it.
He
Yeah,
did. He
he-
came out
Oh, he
with a
did?
second statement after, 3 days later.
Yeah, he got called out for not saying anything.
Wow.
Because he
Oh,
made a
shit,
statement, but it was just like he was denouncing violence at
Wait, did he post it on
protests.
Twitter?
No, he had like a whole video.
Oh.
He like denounced violence the first time, and then people are like, "What do you like?" There was Nazis. Like, you're not denouncing like Nazis and racists and stuff like that. And then 3 days later, so it was just like yesterday or Sunday, one of those days, he actually did a second statement where he's like, we can't have Nazis, we can't have the racists and all this. This will not be accepted in America. It was like a clear well, I have to now at this
Right.
point.
Mm-hmm.
I just, I don't understand it at all. Like, how he got in office, why he's still in office.
I just don't
If
know.
we're actually responsible as the people for that, or if somehow, if it was a rigged election, why on earth choose him as the person to put into your rigged election?
Well, we
He was the one
think,
with ties to Russia.
yeah,
You think it's all actually because...
Right.
I don't know enough about the Russia stuff.
I think it was a plan that started in Russia to, get him elected.
But
I
what
think
is
he's
the
doing
benefit
something.
of that?
I think there's something shady going on. I think that
There's some shady shit going on. There's definitely shady
I think
shit
he's like,
going on.
if you try to get me as having become president, then I'll give you something. I don't know.
Well, they have sanctions on Russia that restrict their it restricts what they can do with other countries and with the U.S.
Uh-huh.
And he was trying to remove those sanctions
Yeah.
from Russia,
Mm-hmm.
but Congress passed it and blocked him from trying to veto it. So he was pretty much forced to sign that too.
So, what's the over-under on him actually getting to 4 years?
I'm going. He's definitely. I think he's out under 4 years.
Really? You think? I think he's actually going to make the 4 years.
Yeah, he's been in for a
It's
while
been
now.
It hasn't even been a year yet.
What, 8 months?
8 months.
Yeah, it hasn't been a year yet.
Right.
And we're already thinking holy shit, this.
Well, he should have been out a long time ago, though. You would have thought, he's.
But the
he's so
investigation's
hated.
getting kind of serious. They have
with
the
the
emails.
Russian stuff, you mean?
The Russians, they have emails about it now that show that they were lying about it, and they
Lying about what?
They subpoenaed a grand jury to
Really?
come in and start indicting people.
See, I've been ignoring news about this because it really is just too depressing sometimes to actually read. And also, it's I don't know what the fuck to trust. So, they're actually got emails from him or from
They have
people on his
emails from his
staff.
aides trying to set up meetings
Okay.
with the Russians. And then one of the guys he had close ties to before said he had no idea of any meetings.
Mhm.
And these emails show otherwise now. So now they can go back and be like, why did you lie about this? And it pretty much gives
Gotcha.
them probable cause to expand and dig deeper.
So, who becomes president if they get rid of him? Is it really going to be
Pence? Well, unless,
that's going to be better.
I don't know much about that guy, so I don't.
unless he's indicated too. Unless he's involved in it and
Yeah.
he gets
Then
put
who
in
will be
jail,
president?
Whoever's next
Well,
in line.
will they go to
I think
jail?
it's the
They'll go to
Secretary of
jail?
State next.
Is that who's next?
I think so.
They'll really go to jail?
If
Depends on what they find them guilty of.
yeah,
If it's treason,
I
I
thought
would
this
think
was.
so.
I
Yeah.
thought it was just for him to be impeached, not go to jail.
As soon as I pointed it out, he stopped doing it. But yeah, it depends on if it's just they kick him out of office. What is it? Impeach? They
Yeah,
impeach
they
him just
impeach him.
because of what he's
So
doing.
we don't have good ties with Russia at all.
No, things weren't too good before he got in office, and then he got in office, and then there was a world leader meeting. They called it like the G20 summit or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he didn't really interact with any other world leaders besides Putin.
Wow.
And then they had a meeting,
weird.
and then they had an informal meeting off the records, and they even told the translators to leave.
Wow.
The informal meeting between Putin and
Yeah. And it's off the records, and there's no records of it. And then they found out about it, and they're just like, "Why did you meet with him?"
Oh my God.
Wow.
Behind the scenes. And then what really gets me is that he asked about
What really grinds my gears?
the pardons. He was like, "Am I able to pardon myself?" Really? Do you know what a pardon is?
That's actually a good question. Is he able to pardon himself?
No.
Can you pardon yourself?
But
Is that telling you just?
if someone's guilty of a crime, you can pardon them. The president has the power to pardon anybody in the U.S.
Why can't he pardon himself then?
and make them free?
So
Like,
say you murder somebody and I think you're innocent. As president, I can be like, you're pardoned. You won't get punished for that.
He wanted to pardon himself.
yeah, he asked if he could pardon.
Wow,
That's
that's crazy.
fucked.
Then they were like, if Pence gets in office, he'll
He'll
probably
just pardon him.
But then he would look really bad too.
So, but then he gets in trouble, and then the Secretary of State's
Well, then
there,
it
I'm
trickles-
pardoning Pence.
Then it trickles down to the rest of the Republicans, and they don't want to
Yeah,
be
that's
associated with that, and he won't want to piss off that many people
That's true.
because they'll look bad. Because all the citizens will be like, "Why did you pardon Trump?"
I don't know, man. People are really behind Trump. Trust me, I have relatives that are really behind Trump, and it's like I was with you a little bit before he got in office. Now that he's in office, I can't even. There's been too much.
I didn't think it would be this bad.
Did you vote for him?
No, I voted for Johnson, even though I didn't even like him.
You voted for Hillary, didn't you?
See, I think Hillary was just as bad. There was really no good choices. On
She
the
was
ballot.
just as bad, but she wouldn't have done this. It wouldn't have been this
But
bad.
what would she have done?
She would have made shady dealings. to
Yeah,
make more
exactly,
money,
that's true.
But she wouldn't have done things like deregulate the EPA and not come out.
I don't know if she wouldn't have done things that are worse necessarily. Trump, the baddest thing about Trump is the image he gives America and the support he basically gives to racists and white supremacists and stuff like that. That's his worst thing. The other shady shit I would expect from any other Republican.
Yeah, he is making America look really dumb. There were some interviews in Korea about Trump being in office, and they were just like, Americans are stupid. They're dumb.
He's trying to do
Despite the fact that the majority of people said we don't want him in office. Quite literally by voting.
and he's against the health care, the Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act.
To be fair, I'm against the Affordable Care Act at some point.
I think it helps.
What's wrong with having health insurance?
I think it's it's one of those high level things where I'm either, if we're going to do healthcare, it should be universal healthcare, or it should be the complete opposite, and there should be no regulations. It should be complete competitive. It shouldn't go through employers. First of all, I don't know why that is just there to help insurance companies. The only reason that exists is because if I sell insurance to a group of 30 people, now I've mitigated my risk as an insurance company because now I can sell across the board, whereas if I sell direct, I'm taking more risks. That's only exists because insurance lobbyists have lobbied it that way.
I think
So get rid of that.
It has other good points though, pre-existing conditions. They can't turn people away just because of pre-existing conditions.
Insurance companies have to exist. If they're going to exist, they have to profit, right? So if you force them into pigeonholes okay, you have to cover people with pre-existing conditions, that just means they're going to have to charge you outrageous rates.
But it's subsidized a little by the government.
True, but then why not, if we're going to spend money on insurance, just do universal health care so you don't have to worry about it to begin with?
Because the insurance companies would disappear then.
That sounds glorious.
I know.
Actually, they wouldn't disappear, though, because it would just be like anything else.
You got to take baby steps, though. You can't just go in and wipe out $1 trillion worth of market.
Well, that's the problem, right? Is we've had all these things in place, so you can't just wipe something out. So you have to add on rules and then.
I'm saying though that Trump's not taking the baby steps toward it. He's going the opposite direction and making them stronger now, though.
Honestly, that was the one thing I liked about Trump was his healthcare plan to get rid of it, and let insurance companies go across state lines. What was his other stuff? There's a couple other things that I actually agreed with him, but that was about it.
But did he do any of that stuff?
No, obviously, because it's a fucking president. Like, every goddamn president that said, I'm going to do this, got in office, like, JK. I mean, even Obama, his Affordable Care Act's not what he wanted it to be, because no matter who's in office, they have to deal with the other party.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want to do this, but to actually get what I want into play, I have to deal and negotiate, and so what I want doesn't become what I want. Like, I don't doubt Obamacare probably could have been way better if he just was able to put in whatever he wanted. There's also, like, if for insurance, for medical insurance, there's no reason it shouldn't be I walk into a place, I look at what was basically a menu, and I know exactly how much I'm going to pay before I get any service.
That would make sense.
Yeah, but it's completely fucked because there's too many lobbyists, there's too much, it's been in place for too long, and it's too much politics affecting healthcare. So that's why I say it's either the whole government pays for everybody to have healthcare, which would be a base level. Wouldn't it be the amazing coverage? So insurance companies would still exist, because if you wanted better coverage than what the government gives you, you would have to buy that coverage. Or just make it so there's not all this regulation and all these rules, and insurance companies charging, like hospitals charging $800 for a service because they know the insurance companies will negotiate it down anyway, so they charge way above what the actual cost is because they know insurance companies will negotiate down. All those issues.
Yeah.
It's just too complicated of a problem, basically.
They should just make everything free.
Free! To be fair, the problem is the government has their hands in too many things. I think there should be transportation, for sure, like the roads and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Safety, like police and fire departments. And then insurance, because that's also safety and health.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Obviously there's some other things, but there shouldn't be that many more things that a government actually deals with. A government's number one thing should be helping the safety of their citizens. So military would be next.
Yeah, if you cut our military budget in half, we would have plenty of money to cover everything twice over.
Yeah, and people will hear that and be like, well, how will we defend ourselves? Like, you really think if we cut our military budget, we wouldn't be able to, like, defend ourselves? Like, obviously there's military budget going to...
It's because we're stationed in every country around the world. It's not just... Like, if we just had to defend the U.S., it wouldn't be nearly as much.
But then people look at the U.S. and be like, why aren't you helping us? You have the biggest military. Like, somewhat, do we have a responsibility to protect freedom?
I don't think we really help, though. We just...
I don't think so either.
They're just, stationed there, chilling.
Especially in the Middle East. But at what point do we pay for things that we don't even know about, like spies, to make sure Russia or something isn't doing something behind our backs? You know what I mean? Like, at some point, the problem is we're so outside of politics, we really don't know what's going on.
Yeah. It'd be nice if you could just hit the reset button.
That's what needs... Nick and I have talked about this, like...
Let's pivot.
Pivot?
Let's pivot.
Pivot!
So it's been about 3 years since you moved to Columbus, Mansfield. What do you think?
I obviously like Columbus way better than Mansfield.
You never look back and
The only thing I like more about Mansfield is that it was cheaper to live there.
Yeah.
That's it. That's literally the only thing.
What's different here than in Mansfield?
Well, in Mansfield, the only thing to do is get high, get drunk, do drugs.
We had a pretty good time in our apartment. Our apartment was pretty cool. We would have game nights and
we had to create the fun.
Yeah,
we created the fun. That's true. That was some good times we had at the apartment.
But down here, there is a bigger culture of people that do other things. Whatever you're interested in, pretty much you can.
Yeah, like board games, I don't have to create it. Like, I can go and play board games at any point in time. There's always somebody playing board games.
Yeah.
I guess one of the things I dislike is it's more of the I guess that Ontario, you know, it's not like we really knew our neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really talk to them. But in Columbus, it's just more of that. Like, you're by even more people, and you still talk to them less.
Yeah, we just got a house, and I was surprised. Like, one neighbor came over and introduced themselves, and I thought, like...
You thought, like, hey, it's going to be real neighborly because...
Yeah, I
know,
thought I would chit-chat with all the
street.
neighbors and stuff, but
Yeah.
everyone just, like, kind of lives in their own little bubble.
Isn't that weird? Like, it always... I don't know, but, like... I feel like if I would go next door, you know, and, like, knock and, like, introduce myself, the person would just be weirded out. Like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah.
Fuck you doing?
It was, on campus, it was better. Like, I think because we were all just college kids.
Yeah, you're partying and just having a good time.
Yeah, because we would all just chill on our porches, and you could, like, just see down all of the porches. But
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I don't...
There's nothing in Mansfield you miss?
Man, I don't know. I can't really think of something off the top. What about you?
I miss driving around there. I felt a little more free. Like, you could just go and drive on some back roads and
Yeah, I think-
just see the country.
I feel like
Yes.
you can do that around here. Like, if you're downtown and stuff, it kind of sucks, but...
Yeah, I mean, like, when I drove around Mansfield, I was forced to go in those places. Here, like, when I drive from my work to wherever I'm going, it's always in the city driving, and it's just
Yeah.
like, go, stoplight, traffic, stoplight.
Yeah, not having a job that's downtown, I feel like, helps that a lot, where it doesn't... Like, driving really doesn't bother me too much, because it's not too much highway driving and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you one thing, when I see those fucking... Have you seen those signs on the highway that are like... air quality warning, like carpool, van pool. I'm like, Jesus, like, you've
No.
never seen those?
No. Are they electronic?
Yeah, they're like those electronic signs that normally have, like, you know, whatever construction warnings or
Uh-huh.
this many traffic
They
deaths.
say there's like an
This-
air...
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking
Those
about.
signs.
There's too much air pollution or something?
Yeah, you haven't seen these? Like,
I've seen the traffic deaths one, but I haven't
Yeah,
seen
they'll have,
the-
like, this many motorcycle deaths, 64.
Yeah.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
now and then there'll be one that says, like, air quality warning,
Oh, wow.
carpool or van pool today.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, who's actually reading that sign in their car, driving solo, and be like, oh, yeah, maybe I should get out, pull over, and get in somebody else's car. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck are you supposed to do? You're
Wow,
already
that's
in your
crazy,
car.
though.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
You'll look for them now. I've seen them like 3 or 4 times, and recently, too.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'll have to
Dang.
start looking for them.
Yeah, I'm thinking that, and I'm like, well, so clearly the air I'm breathing is probably not great around
We're
here.
gonna-
How's this
We're gonna
affecting
have
my
the
health?
same. We're gonna have the same pollution as China here in a little bit.
Oh, I don't know about that. That's rough.
Hey man, Trump's taking down those regulations, so we could get there. There's hope. I'm serious.
That's funny. You know what? So, oh man, I'm gonna sound like an idiot. So, have you heard of Ben Shapiro? Like, you ever listened to him at all?
He sounds familiar.
That name does sound familiar.
Oh no, I was thinking of Robert Shapiro from OJ's case.
Yeah, me too.
We watched all the OJ stuff, so
That was great.
Yeah.
Great show.
there's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's just a lot of
Oh, wait, which one did you
documentaries and
watch?
stuff that
We watched the
watched
one
a lot.
on the FX show.
Uh-huh.
Is that the one
That's
you
the one I
watched?
watched. Yeah, the one that was actually like
And then there's a
not
30.
a doc, but
There's a 30 for 30, which is a doc style, but it's like 6 hours long, and it's called Made in America,
Yeah.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
And
Huh.
it takes a different you can watch both and not feel like you watched too much of OJ.
2 days ago, I would have known what the fuck 30 for 30 is. But now I know those are sports documentaries, right? Eh? Yeah! She still doesn't know, and she's seen them.
We watched one.
Did I?
Oh no, we watched one on Jeremy Lin, but that wasn't 30 for 30.
She looked like, you crazy, fool.
But who's this other Shapiro guy?
Oh, Ben Shapiro. So he's like, you've probably heard at least of Milo Yiannopoulos or whatever his name is. Like,
Nope.
Yeah, I think
one
I
of those
have.
political activist type people.
Mhm.
So he's one of those, but he's he's Republican, but like the true definition of Republican, like conservative,
Mhm.
not like if you think Republican, what you normally picture.
Mhm.
So he doesn't like Trump. Like, he denounces Trump, doesn't like anything about Trump. He didn't even vote for Trump, or he actually didn't vote at all for the past election because he felt like there was no real good choices, so he didn't vote.
Yeah, that's how most people felt.
Yeah. But anyways, what brought up Ben Shapiro? Why was I bringing him up? What brought him up? What were we talking about?
What were we talking
Columbus.
about?
Air pollution, EPA. Okay, so he was talking about. He actually had like arguments against global warming that I never heard, and I was like, "You're making too much sense. Like, I need to listen to like." I need you to argue with Neil deGrasse Tyson so I can hear like an educated person talk with an educated person about the opposite sides, because I never heard any arguments against global warming.
Does he have a movie out or something? Like there's a movie.
Ben Shapiro, I don't think so.
What was that movie we saw? It was like a trailer, and he was pretty much going against Trump, saying that we really need to watch out with air pollution and just a whole bunch of natural disasters that's going to happen.
Yeah, it wasn't
Al
Ben
Gore.
Shapiro.
Al Gore? No, it wasn't.
He wouldn't have been
Al Gore.
against Trump. Al Gore was like the
Al Gore.
OG of.
It was someone
So.
else. It was some guy.
Yeah, somebody did have like
Yeah.
a thing all
He
about
kept-
air pollution.
Yeah.
Well, Ben Shapiro was just on Joe Rogan. Listen to that episode. See what you think about it. It's really interesting. He's a really intelligent, great speaker, and he talks about he had like an argument with Bill Nye.
What?
Yeah, he talked about like how Bill Nye didn't actually present any facts, even though Ben Shapiro kept asking him like, "What are the facts?" And I will agree that Bill Nye does. He's not an actual scientist. He just like promotes science. He's a science promoter. In fact, everything I've heard about his new show says it's awful. I haven't tried to watch it. Have you tried to watch it?
No.
I hear it's terrible.
Wow, that's crazy.
Because it's like he's gotten too far to that like propaganda and not actually being entertaining. Like, Neil deGrasse Tyson, thankfully, is still entertaining and actually presents facts with his arguments instead of just trying to push an agenda, I guess I should say. Listen to that episode. That was a really good one. Because I love when I hear somebody that has differing opinions of me and has very good reasons for their opinions, and I'm like, oh shit, like maybe I gotta second guess that. Maybe now I gotta look into facts about global warming. Like
yeah,
shit.
I think those stuff that scares me. Like it's just, even though you want to know what's going on in this world, it's just kind of like scary because you're living in it and you know what's going to happen to you. You know that you're going to die soon.
Yeah.
You know.
Not soon.
I mean, hey, you never know.
Well, yeah, that's true. This air quality.
Yeah. There was a documentary that Leonardo DiCaprio made. What was it called?
Leonardo DiCaprio made the documentary?
Yeah, he made a really good documentary about like the world and like pollution and just a whole bunch of stuff. Well, I gotta remember what the name was called. I'm trying to look it up.
The scariest thing to me is the water temperature.
Yeah, the water going. Yeah,
The water temperature, if it goes up like a couple more degrees Celsius, like all this stuff is going to start dying off. And like it's already apparent because all the coral reefs are getting bleached and like dying off.
Yeah,
and things like that.
But a lot of what he was talking about, so what he was bringing up is like a lot of these facts aren't really affecting humans. Like they're killing certainly coral reefs and all that stuff, which is obviously bad. But it's not going to destroy the world and kill all the humans. Is basically what he's arguing. Like,
you don't think there'd be like a chain reaction effect where if this dies, like
I don't
that's not
know.
gonna be able to survive? And
like I said, I'm not
It's-
smart enough for this.
it's called Before the Flood. It came out last year.
Like I said, I wanted to hear Neil deGrasse Tyson's arguments against his because I really like Ben Shapiro. Like was arguing against what I used like. I typically believe, yeah, of course, like, humans are polluting the world and we're basically killing ourselves. And then he was presenting counter-arguments and I was like, oh shit, now I gotta, like, think about what I think already. Like, you know, I like when people challenge my beliefs. I'm like, oh shit, like, am I being just, you know, too complacent with scientists and believing exactly what they say without actually reading data myself? You know, but who has the time to do that?
Yeah.
Like, do I have time to read that? No. So I hear somebody like Neil deGrasse Tyson tell me, you know, this is a problem, this is happening. But then I hear somebody like Ben Shapiro who reads the data and says, no, it's really not that bad of a problem. And I'm like, well, what the fuck do I believe then? I think that's the biggest problem is who has the time to actually look into some of those serious issues like that. And another one of his things was the fact that if we have polluted the world, it's almost too late to go back. Like, we can't really fix
Change
it at this
anything,
point.
yeah.
Like, we've already gone too far.
I mean,
if we've done the damage, it's already done.
But there's ways that we can stop, keeping the world,
Yeah.
we can just
Maybe
put a stop to it.
there's technology out there to like help it.
Yeah.
If it's not there yet.
Oh, we have flying cars now, or not flying cars.
Flying cars.
Self-driving cars. We're gonna have those soon, I bet. But we have like self-driving cars. Why can't we come up with something to like help the world, the environment? Like
That would be great if everyone just drove a self-driving car.
wouldn't they?
What
are
would
they
you
like?
say if everyone had a self-driving car?
Are they like hybrids where they don't pollute the earth or something like that, or the world or the air?
Yeah, the electric cars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those
they have all electric cars now. So you just charge them.
Yeah.
The benefit of self-driving cars would be like you wouldn't have to own a self-driving car, so carpools would be more commonplace. Like,
Yeah,
why
it
would
would
I
just
need to
work
own
like
my own car?
everything would just work like Uber. And if you needed to go somewhere, you would just queue up a car, and it would swing by and get you, and then you'd go and get dropped
exactly.
off. Then you wouldn't have to worry about parking it because that car would just go and pick someone else
Right.
up.
Why don't we do
and not
something
just like that,
that,
but you could own we could split a self-driving car, and obviously I don't need it the exact same time as you at all the time, every time. So it's like a family could have one self-driving car that could take them where they need to go at all times.
I just want to sleep on my way to work.
Right?
Why don't we have stuff like that? I don't get why we never. I don't know. I just feel
The technology's not there yet.
I know,
Self-driving
but
cars aren't perfect.
But I kind of feel like we're just doing a lot of things about for money and because we're greedy. And
Well,
we
yeah.
we don't do anything.
It's
for the
human
world,
nature, right?
though.
That's the problem.
We don't do anything for the environment. I don't know.
Yeah, there's basically two sides of people trying to be greedy, and then those who trying to promote sustainability.
And the same people, a lot of greedy people are also doing that too. It's human nature to be greedy and
Is it?
care about yourself.
And all the greedy people make the laws, so it's harder for the other side to gain any
That's true.
momentum because all these people are setting the rules.
I'd say human nature is definitely being selfish at some point. Even if you're being altruistic, a lot of times that means it's because it makes you feel good. At some point, it's because it benefits you at some point.
This was pretty good.
It was good.
Moscato.
What was it? Pink Moscato?
Yeah.
It's
Had a
pretty
little
girly
buzz
drink.
going on.
Destiny's getting fucked up over here. You might need to
Whoa.
call a self-driving
Whoa.
car to get home.
Put your shirt on, Destiny.
Destiny, get off the table! Stop dancing! Anyways, so that's the state of affairs. Oh, Nick and I's prediction. So one of my predictions was the world goes to shit, or at least the United States goes to shit, if
US.
Trump gets elected a second term.
What?
See? That's exactly what I mean. That would fucking enrage
Oh my
all of
God.
America so to the next level.
Yeah.
Well, that will go to show that money has so much power. They think that the reason
Well, actually,
why.
don't already know that.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, people just don't have a say in things. Money does.
Yeah,
we can't
money
decide
talks, right?
anything.
That's the
Yeah, it
thing.
does. I don't know. It just sucks.
There's actually one of the Lyft drivers I had in Las Vegas was talking about Lyft and Uber in Vegas and how they they're obviously hitting the taxi companies really hard because drunk driving went down significantly after Uber and Lyft were introduced. But then the taxi companies were losing so much money, they went to people in politics, which they had a lot of connections because they've been there in Las Vegas for so long. So they're introducing a bill that was going to get rid of Uber and Lyft. Well, there was this guy who was really influential in Las Vegas who brings some kind of convention to Las Vegas every year that brings in $2 or $3 billion just over a weekend. And as soon as he heard about that legislation, he was like, if you guys pass that legislation, I'm going elsewhere with my convention. And so the bill just died immediately and never even saw the light of day. And I was like, yeah, so it's all about money and politics like everyone thinks. And yeah, it really is.
And it's about the taxi companies just being greedy. They could have a system like Uber and Lyft and just call it a taxi app.
Yep.
But it costs money to do that changeover and switch. And you do see now, people having, Tap That app in Columbus. It's like Tap That app.
But they've
that
been
for
around for so
taxis.
long. Why don't you think they use that money to just convert over
Their
to...
system is kind of different because they have to buy these things called medallions for their taxis, and they're pretty expensive. In New York, one's like $50,000.
Not only that, taxi companies buy their taxis and you use their taxi, whereas Uber, you use your own car. They
Right.
don't have to buy cars.
That's true.
So it's a lot less for them to invest in a new employee.
Yeah. Dang, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I will say I've driven in a taxi a couple times and hated it every time, and I've
Yeah.
never really had a bad experience with Uber or Lyft yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't say it couldn't happen, but
Why don't you do that?
I actually am looking
Oh,
into
okay.
Lyft. Have you had a bad experience Uber or Lyft?
Nope.
No, my friend, my old manager did though.
Yeah?
She was puke framed.
Puke framed.
Her
Oh
friend, like,
my god.
I think she got like a little bit of puke in the car, and like she took a picture of it, and then the next day she got billed like $300.
What?
Jesus
And
Christ.
the guy, like, she looked at the pictures of the guy's car, and it was like covered in puke, and he had
What?
like, you know, he had like saved these pictures from another time,
Oh, no.
and he tried to puke frame her.
Holy shit, puke framing.
Yeah,
Did she
but
like call
she even
and
cleaned it
argue?
up. She cleaned her friend's puke up. Like, she ran in her house and like got cleaners and like cleaned his car out because it was just a little spot.
Shit.
But then the next
Wow.
day she saw the charge, and then she contacted them, and they sent her the pictures. And she's like, no, like
Wow.
that did not happen.
Man,
Wow, that's
holy
so
shit.
crazy. Did she fight it? Like,
Yeah, it was. She likes to fight everything. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
she
That is-
fought
Who
it.
was it?
Juliet.
Oh, okay.
I'd
Yeah.
fight it so hard if it was $300 too. Like,
Yeah.
no, motherfucker, this did not happen.
Yeah, so watch out
Puke
for that
frame.
puke framing, man.
Puke frame.
Wow, that's crazy.
Well, I don't plan
I-
on puking in any Ubers or
I
Lyfts.
heard that maybe that's true because I heard that if you're an Uber driver and someone pukes in your car, you get like an additional fee, like
Yeah, you do.
or you get charged
You
more.
get a cleaning. Yeah,
You get a cleaning fee, depending
Right.
on how bad it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
But you do have to document it and like take actual pictures.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
you
it
didn't
makes
use
sense.
the real pictures.
I mean, if you puke in somebody's car, yeah, you should
Yeah,
have to pay
I
for
know.
it. It makes
but
sense.
I don't know.
But I didn't never thought about people abusing that system.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's crazy.
I will say I did like Lyft a lot more than Uber. I randomly had, I think because I downloaded Lyft as an app on my phone, and I had it there for like 3 months and never used it, just because I never had a reason to use it, but I had downloaded it. They sent me a coupon for $5 off my first 20 rides with Lyft. And I was like, oh, I got that like a few weeks right before I knew I was going to Vegas, and I was like, this is perfect, like, because I know I'll have to use Uber or Lyft to drive around. Dude, like, half the rides I took, the only thing I paid for was the tip. That was
Oh,
it.
wow.
That was great.
I thought you didn't have to tip.
You don't have to, but like if my bill is $0, why wouldn't I tip?
But did you tip in cash or did you tip on the app?
On the app, like with Lyft encourages
Oh, okay,
tips.
okay. Uber doesn't let you tip on the app.
They do now because they're competing with Lyft.
Oh, okay.
Because all the drivers were going from Uber to Lyft because Uber doesn't do tipping. So it's like, why not go to a tipping service? So Uber was kind of, their hand was forced, like, you got to do tipping now. So that's kind of why I was looking at Lyft, because I was like, I'd rather do a service that encourages tipping
Yeah,
than one that did it because the other company said, hey, look at these guys.
that's a good service. And then there's a lot of like recurring services, like Dollar Shave Club.
Oh, yeah, monthly thing. That
monthly
is such-
things that just ship you things when you run out.
You could. The amount of things you could sign up that charge you monthly is ridiculous.
And
now.
then I think it's gonna improve when drones become more.
Yeah.
Amazon, their master plan is to create an aircraft carrier, like a master warehouse in the sky, and then they'll deploy drones to just like,
Everywhere, yeah.
Dang.
yeah, just ship things like super fast.
I'm for it, Destiny. I'm for it. You know?
That's crazy. It reminds me of like back in the day where they had those little cartoons where they have the babies. The seagulls are like flying in the air and they drop off the babies in the front porch.
Yeah, we'll just
Storks.
order a baby off Amazon.
Just get my local baby. They could if there was like an adoption service on Amazon. Like, I'm gonna order my baby.
Yep.
Drone a baby to you.
I think their next thing is gonna be like groceries. They're gonna want to like.
They bought Whole Foods, of course it is.
I know.
That's gonna be their next.
If
thing
they
for
ever
sure.
get something like Kroger's or like well, Whole Foods
Something
is
that's
pretty big.
more places, like Whole Foods is in big cities. That's it.
Whole Foods is at a different price point, and all their products like aren't your mainstream groceries
Yeah.
that typical people buy.
Yeah,
So it's for a different.
a Kroger or
Customer.
a Walmart or something. They'll probably never do Walmart.
No.
Kroger,
think
a
they'll
Kroger
go
would be perfect.
Yeah.
But all the grocery stores already started the pickup where you
Yeah.
can order your groceries
But
online.
you still have to get up off your ass and go pick the groceries up.
Why couldn't they buy Kroger instead of... Why did they buy Whole Foods? I don't get
Kroger
it.
was probably a lot more expensive.
Really?
Yeah.
They probably wanted to also test the market with something.
That's
like that.
true. Well, then why didn't they... Well, then, I don't know. Maybe...
Have they begun to do like delivery with Whole Foods or anything? I haven't seen anything.
No, they introduced things like we have this thermometer hooked up to a cell phone, and instead of like going around and taking temps and like writing them on a paper, we just have a quick scan thermometer, and we can just like laser things now and check the temp real fast, and then it logs it in the cell phone and sends it off. So like when we have to just keep a daily log of all our temps from hour to hour.
Yeah.
So they put that in.
But
They
you
wanna-
haven't done anything with Amazon yet.
Yeah, that was Amazon.
Oh.
They said they're gonna like slowly implement like
They're
new
just
technology
implementing rules for you.
and like try things out. Like they want to give more employees iPads, so if like we're out of something and a customer wants it, we'll just order it for them and ship it to their house.
That's cool.
And I'm sure they're gonna do other things, but
Yeah, as soon as Amazon delivers groceries.
I could see them trying
You're down, man.
like if there were smaller Whole Foods. They could do the RFID thing where there's no checkouts and you just walk in and grab what you want and walk
Yeah.
out.
I'm surprised they don't already do stuff like that.
They have a test store in California somewhere where it's Amazon Go and there's no cashiers.
Oh, wow.
That's what I'm saying. Companies that have never let me down. Google, Amazon, and Netflix.
Yeah.
You just hope they
I've
keep
always
being,
been so satisfied with
You
them.
just hope they keep being the good guys, though.
Right? Yeah, it's true. Like, how much money do we give them, and then they start fucking up and being
Yeah.
like every other company?
Yeah.
Like, in 30 years, are we going to look at them like the oil companies?
Yeah. It
Right.
could happen.
Like, are they going to have a major, like, oil spill like BP had? And I'm
Oof.
like, you guys suck.
I boycotted BP.
Really?
She won't go,
Yeah.
I
she
never
won't let
go
me
to
go to
BP.
BP.
Yeah, they
Yeah, fuck BP.
And when
I
we-
love Speedway, man. Speedway's
And
where
when
it's
we
at.
buy
Get the
dish soap-
points.
When we buy Dawn dish soap, we have to get the one with the little ducks on the front.
Because of oil spills.
We have to save them. They didn't do anything wrong.
No, they use Dawn to clean off the ducks.
Yeah, I know.
They didn't do anything wrong with BP.
Those motherfuckers. I just like
I don't know
Speedway.
about
I like their
them.
point system. They got a really good point system.
We
My
got
free
a
coffee.
Kroger gas station right by our house now, so we just use the Kroger points to.
That's
Do it now.
true.
I cashed on my Speedy. The Speedy points have gotten shittier over the years.
Have they?
I used to be able to get like 1,000 points off 2 candy bars, and now you got to buy like $20 worth of stuff to get 1,000 points.
Yeah, I don't actually even buy a lot of merchandise from them. Mostly like a coffee or a donut, maybe.
Yeah.
And then I just build the points up from fuel. Like I'm really loyal about going to the Speedway if I can for fuel.
Yeah.
But I knew Netflix was legit, and this is way back when they did the DVDs when I first signed up
yeah.
for them. And when I money's tight this month, I need to cancel it. And I was in my back of my head going, "Fuck, I'm gonna have to call them. There's gonna be a whole hoopla to try and get this canceled." Like every other goddamn company that's out there. I went online, went to my menu, and there's just a cancel subscription button. I was like, no. Is it that easy? I cancel it, and it's like, your subscription's been canceled. Hope you come back. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, no way! And then next month I got it back, and it was like, yeah, I'm keeping Netflix forever.
Yeah.
I think I just randomly saw, I've had my Netflix account for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And that's the moment I knew, oh shit, this is an awesome company.
Yeah, we had Netflix for a little bit, and then we canceled it and went to Hulu. and then
Yeah.
we were Hulu for a little bit, and then we're like,
Hulu sucks because it still has commercials. Unless
Yeah.
you pay for Hulu Plus.
Even when you pay for it, don't they still have commercials?
yeah,
Yeah.
That's
I think you
fucked.
have to pay more in order for you to
you have to
have
pay a
the
premium to
commercials.
get no commercials.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
What's it called? Like Hulu Prime
Plus,
or something? Or
Hulu
whatever?
Plus.
There's a big discussion on Reddit of like if Netflix adds commercials, like
What?
I don't think they ever will because
No.
everyone talks about the reason I have Netflix is no commercials.
Oh, yeah.
The only commercials they have are to advertise their own like original stuff. Like every now and then there might be a splash screen when you go to Netflix, or it might be the header. But they never do actual commercials with
I've never
I would
seen
just
anything like
pirate
that on
it if they
Netflix.
had commercials.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna pirate.
Because-
If Netflix adds commercials, it's gone.
We actually had Sling once. You know what Sling is?
Yeah.
We had Sling, and it's just like regular TV, except it's over the internet, and you can just pick. But it had commercials, and we would watch like The Walking Dead, and I was just like, "This is horrible! Like I hate commercials."
It is awful. But then you also got to think, well, I guess Netflix is a proof of concept that you don't need commercials to make money. So
Yeah.
if you have a subscription service, people are willing to pay for it. Like, what do I pay? Like $11 for Netflix, I think it is.
Yeah.
Like if
pay
it
that
goes up
much.
like $3 or $4, I'll kind of be like, well, yeah, you guys are making good shows. I get it. You need a little more money. Like they're the people who raise the rates, and I'm just like, yeah, I get it. As long as they don't go crazy, like
It wouldn't
also
even
it's
have to be
$20.
commercials. If they would just put a banner at the top or something, that's
Yeah,
cool.
man. Yeah, like it's. But I think they're of the philosophy of no commercials and
Yeah.
nothing. That as soon as they do, I might hit that cancel subscription button again. Might
Then where do you
happen.
go? What do you do? How do you watch your
BitTorrent.
shows?
BitTorrent.
Oh,
Same way I
guess.
watch Game of Thrones and Rick and Morty.
Caught up on Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Has this season not been amazing?
She doesn't watch it.
What?
She watched like 3 episodes and she couldn't get into it, and I was like, I tried to get her to the end of season 1. That's where you get
I'm going to
hooked.
ask you exactly what my brother asked Harry when he said, how can you not be in Game of Thrones? What about the first episode where a kid sees a sister and brother fucking, witnesses this, and the brother, or the dude, pushes them off a window and paralyzes them? Didn't rope you in.
Well, it did, but I don't know. I just.
Not
Maybe
into
it's
that.
just some people aren't into like medieval type.
Yeah.
Do you not like that
Well,
setting?
I do. I like that, but I don't know. I just felt like. I don't know. I say it all the time every time I see like bits and pieces of the shows that he's watching.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a whole bunch of naked women all the time.
Boobies.
Every time you see like boobies everywhere, it's just like I don't get it.
You're
Like,
speaking
why?
my language, Destiny.
Okay, and
There actually hasn't been too many boobies this season. It's been all,
Dude, there
all
was
about
just
the story.
boobies a couple episodes ago.
Not too much boobies, though.
What's his name? The Unsullied guy.
Oh, yeah.
And the chick, like,
Yeah.
and they're like, how's this gonna work? Because Unsullied is Unsullied. Like, he doesn't have
This
the
guy's
chick.
castrated, and he was like trying to hook up with this chick.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he just did oral on her.
Yeah. Is castrated the word, though? Like, do
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Oh, fuck you if you're not keeping up with Game of Thrones.
But yeah, this season they brought back Gendry.
Yeah, dude. Did you catch the Gillet comment?
Oh yeah.
Rhaegar?
Mhm.
Oh, shit.
I think it wasn't proven, but I just always believed it was like already like
Yeah.
a done deal.
Game of Thrones, they keep just like hinting over
Yeah.
and over. It's like, alright, Brandon, can you just fucking tell Jon Snow he's a goddamn Targaryen already? Like,
Uh-huh.
can this just happen? It just needs to happen. How about Rick and Morty? Have you been keeping up with Rick and Morty?
Mhm.
You don't like that show either?
okay, there's the.
At least I can understand,
There's-
like, I understand people not liking Rick and Morty, because it is a lot of dick and fart jokes with high level concepts.
That
and,
I must have missed those parts, but I think the old man's voice is so annoying,
I could see that too.
and he's just saying like he keeps calling the guy Morty. He's just like,
Morty!
like how many times can you say this kid's name? Gosh.
That's definitely.
There
But that's
are
the character, right?
There
That's the
are
whole
like
point.
some parts in the show that are funny, but I just wouldn't watch it. It reminds me of like your average Family Guy. You just kind of like, just
How
Ridiculous.
dare you say the average Family Guy? Oh, it's definitely a ridiculous show. I just like how they do really intelligent concepts.
Yeah.
The dumbest humor.
Sometimes they border it, like Pickle Rick.
Pickle Rick was obviously, this is just dumb for dumb's sake. But like the Battery episode, which is like one of my favorite ones, where they have like a microverse inside a microverse inside a microverse, and the whole idea behind that of, you know, like once you meet your creator, like what do you have to live for and stuff like that. Like it was a high level concept with the dumbest fucking jokes mixed into it. That's why I like Rick and Morty.
I like it. I like the dumb fart jokes too.
Yeah. Pickle Rick!
Yeah, I like Pickle Rick.
Dude, the idea that he made himself a pickle just to avoid therapy.
Yeah, he made himself a pickle, and then he had to like take rat parts and attach them to himself to move around.
Oh my god.
But he made himself a pickle to avoid family therapy. And he had like a needle, a needle attached, like a string attached to scissors that was set to a timer to cut after 10 minutes after they'd leave for therapy.
Wow.
Oh, that's so great.
And there's like the multiverse theory where there's like infinite Ricks and infinite Mortys, and you're like, which Rick is this?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's C-137.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What if he took out C-137?
That's why everyone's after them, though. That's why the other Ricks are still after them. Because that is C-137 Rick and C-137
What
Morty.
if Morty is Rick?
I've seen that theory.
Yep.
Did you watch that theory?
Yeah, I've read a lot of
It
theories.
is an interesting theory about that. Did you read the theory about the whole idea that why Rick is an alcoholic and why he's drunk and sad all the time?
Something about his daughter?
No. It's all about the fact that... so it goes back to the Battery episode where like they met their creator and they're like sad afterwards because now they know like the only reason he existed was to create electricity for his fucking battery for a car, basically, or for his UFO or whatever.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is that Rick knows the only reason he exists is to entertain us.
Oh.
And so, like, he's constantly trying to entertain, and that's the only reason he exists. So he's drunk and alcoholic, and that's why he needs Morty, because Morty's there because it makes everything more entertaining, and like it's kind of like it explains the actual idea behind the show, but a little higher level of but Rick actually understands that he's a cartoon, and that that if he doesn't entertain us, he will be destroyed. Just like at the end of the Battery episode, the reason he knew his car would start because if the guy didn't continue the power, even though he knew the only reason this world existed was to generate power, that Rick would just throw the battery out and that would destroy their whole world.
Yeah.
So he knew, like, when he turned the engine after he left the microverse, that it would turn because it's either that or be destroyed. As Rick knows, it's either be entertaining or be destroyed because you'll get canceled and it won't be a show anymore.
Final question.
Poop.
Did you get any Szechuan sauce?
No! Did you see the tweet from Justin Roiland?
No.
The fucking McDonald's sent him like a fucking gallon jug of Szechuan sauce. And like it had like a really funny label, and basically it's like obviously coming with Mulan, the live action.
Oh, nice. In 1998, McDonald's released Szechuan sauce to dip your nuggets in, and I guess it was delicious.
Did you not see the name of our Wi-Fi here?
No.
It's Szechuan sauce.
Szechuan sauce.
Have you had the Szechuan sauce? I've never had it. Have you?
I've had Szechuan chicken from Chinese places.
But McDonald's Szechuan sauce.
No, I have not.
I don't know if I have either. If I had, I was obviously a kid and would never remember. Alright, that's a good time to end it. It's Szechuan sauce.